Hello everyone, my name is Ines and in this video we will provide you with some tips regarding the selection of the non-profit organization you want to involve in the project. As you will understand during the video, there is no perfect solution or one-size-fits-all procedure since the choice of the most suitable NPO or NGO for your Pro Bono project will certainly depend on certain factors, such as the estimated length of the project, the aims of the project, its goals, and the number of participants in it. In any case, the participation of NGOs or NPOs is of paramount importance for the project's success and, after all, for the achievement of the purpose of a volunteer project in general. Therefore, a proper selection procedure is a key factor, and the aim of this video is precisely to show you that and how to do it. Indeed, before starting executing your project, you have to define how you will choose the NGO you want to involve in. This problem must therefore be one of the first in your pipeline. However, the truth is that in this respect, there are different procedures you may consider to apply. You just have to be careful when opting for the most suitable one. Questions such as, do we need a NGO from a specific social field? Is it better to include some organization we have already collaborated with in the past? Or is the scope of the project broad enough to justify opening a call for tenders? Or even, do we have the conditions to open a call for tenders in terms of media, legal support, and responsiveness? These are just examples of the questions you will need to ask yourself, but many others will need to be answered if you want to avoid a disastrous outcome. It is therefore important to always keep in mind that as a promoter, you are in charge of everything and the captain of the boat. As to the variety of procedures that you may choose, there are indeed different options available. First, it is possible that you already have a database of contacts that you have collected from previous experience with certain organizations. In this case, your task is easy, since it will be a matter of deciding which organization has the most suitable profile. In contrast, you may prefer to build a contest, allowing all the potential interested candidates to apply, or even defining what type of non-profit organization the contest is open to. While this is a more democratic option, it is also the most complex procedure in terms of structure, organization, and resources. Finally, it is also possible that you decide to collaborate with a third-party pro bono organization with experience in intermediating volunteers and NGOs. These three possibilities, namely direct agreement or contact, tender, and finally collaboration with a third party, do not exhaust your option. They are a good starting point, though. Indeed, it is also possible to combine different models or think of other types of selection procedures. For instance, you may choose, let's say, 5 or 10 already known organizations and then launch a contest or conduct interviews with each in order to select the final one. Please keep it simple though. Sometimes too much steps or too much paperwork become your enemy. Also, the truth is that you will never find a perfect solution. On the contrary, every procedure has its flaws, so its success will actually depend on its suitability for the project at hand. In other words, while some selection procedures might be more suitable vis-à-vis a particular project, they all have their advantages and disadvantages, which vary according to the scope, duration, and type of activities that will be developed. As a result, you will have to consider each project's particularities in order to achieve, if not a perfect, at least a better solution. For instance, In case of a long-term project with a broad scope and involving many participants, launching an open call for tenders will be the most democratic and maybe efficient way to select the NGO you want to benefit with a pro bono project. On the contrary, if you feel you do not have the time, the skills, or structure needed for autonomously selecting the most appropriate NGO and facilitating its relationship with the volunteers, then resorting to a third-party partner whose activities mainly focus on pro bono projects may be a good solution. Finally, if you are thinking of developing a short-term project, easy to manage and social field specific, you may think of previous experience and directly contact a NGO with whom you have collaborated in the past. From these examples, the huge variety of options gets clear. The important thing is to pay due attention to the concrete suitability of a specific selection procedure vis-à-vis the project you want to develop. But as every procedure has its flaws, a good promoter will be the one who is aware of such flaws and creates solutions to avoid them. Therefore, a list of precautions should be adopted. The first one should be to ask yourself whether you have the means to conduct a project and in particular the selection procedure in a responsive way. Please note that you will have to be available to answer the questions that some NGOs might have, for instance, regarding the project scope and the type of intervention you expect from them. Also, it is important you provide them with clear and faithful information. In this regard, it is of the utmost importance to deliver a schedule, even though subject to modifications, in which you signal the most relevant dates and time limits of the project. Remember that an NGO will have other sorts of solicitations, and having some predictability on the project's development and evolution is important, extremely important. Finally, you should listen to the NGO's thoughts on the project. Indeed, all the information you may collect from the NGO may prove important for the project's own success. In particular, it will not only help you build and design the project scope, it will also allow you to refine the list of achievements according to the organization's expectations, this way covering the most urgent needs. Finally, and besides collecting information, it is extremely important to provide meaningful and comprehensive information to the NGO. As a matter of fact, if you do not properly present your project, its scope, and the role of each stakeholder, you run the risk of making two types of errors. First one, to exclude NGOs that would be interested in participating but didn't apply because they thought they did not fit in the project scope. Second, to promote the participation of NGOs in a project for which they do not have the time or resources to participate in it. On the other hand, providing the NGOs with this information also helps you avoid misunderstandings as to the project's achievements and real outcomes. Therefore, getting to know the NGO you are going to involve in your project is a step that you cannot ignore or leave behind. Let's call it a precondition for success. In sum, a huge part of the selection procedure will be about communication and information exchange. Not only you will have to present your needs, you will also have to be ready and create the conditions for listening to the NGO's own needs. And with this in mind, we reach the end of our video. We hope you have enjoyed it and invite you to take our quiz in order to test your knowledge. Thank you for your attention.